Hello, welcome. It's great to see you. We are finally on to Christmas crafting and I am so excited. We are starting off with some ticket embellishments, totally inspired by this die. So this die is from Temu and I'm using my Gemini Mini as always to cut out my ticket pieces. I'm also using the 𝓷𝓸𝓬𝓲 collection today from Rosie Studio. I absolutely love the colours in this collection and I've just chosen two of my favourite papers to cut the tickets. I am layering the tickets onto my little cutting plate with the end sort of slightly too far away from the edge. So you'll see here that I'm having to just cut those little extra bits off. Really what I should have done is have the die hang off the edge of the sheet and that way I wouldn't need to snip these little bits. But it didn't matter to me too much. Also, just showing you there that you could layer these together to make a really cool long ticket embellishment if you wanted to. I'm going to be using the 𝓷𝓸𝓬𝓲 glitter card and I get that from DRK Crafts. I am on their design team, so I do have a discount code for you and a link to the website which I will leave in the description. I will also leave a link to Rosie Studio and the collection that I'm using today. I should probably also say that I'm in their creative club. I don't currently have a discount, but I always recommend checking out their brand ambassadors because they often do. I know 𝓤𝓸𝓬𝓲 currently has a discount code. I think it's 𝓤𝓸𝓬𝓲10, but don't quote me on that. I will ask for you and put it in the description. Last time she very kindly said that she didn't mind if I shared her discount code, so I will grab that for you again if I can. I have just layered my ticket pieces with that gold glitter card, snipped off the extra end pieces, and now I've made a little ruffle tulle. If I thought about it properly, I would have stitched slightly differently. I thought I might be able to get two pieces out of the one sort of width of ruffle. It wasn't really wide enough, so I didn't really need to do like all. I think are there two stitch lines? I think maybe I should have just stuck with the one and it would have been easier to hide the stitching. But I made it work, so I've got some double-sided tape on the back of that ticket. Add it on to that red tulle ruffle. All of my tulle, I believe, is from AliExpress or Temu, so it'll be one of those. And then like you can see here, I was trying to use the other piece so I wouldn't have to make another ruffle, and it is a lot thinner than I would like it to be. We do end up making it work. It just pokes out a little less. I think I have it poking out of one side rather than both for this one. And then we have this little piece left, which I'm trying to make work somewhere as well. These are more dies from Temu. These are little scalloped circles. And I do end up using these on, I think, maybe two of the embellishments. So I'm just working out what sizes I want. Cutting those out again with the Gemini Mini. I use this die cutting machine more than I have ever used any other one. I do love my digital die cutter, but I tend to get that out, cut a bunch of things and put it away for a while. This little mini one is on my desk all the time. And I do often buy dies that will definitely fit in it. A lot of the Coco and Reno ones fit in it beautifully, a lot of the Temu ones. Anything that is under, I think it's 3 by 8 inches. I think that's what the little embossing folders say on them when you buy them, so fingers crossed I've got that right for you. Going through the ephemera pack from Oh Joyful Day, seeing what I can find. That Merry and Bright fits so perfectly in that scallop circle, it makes my brain so happy. I have pulled out wishes, some little banner pieces. This is basically how I put together my embellishments. I'll lay them out in front of me, go through all of the ephemera and see what bits I think I can sort of cluster together. I have added some stitching on a bunch of these. So I just showed you the pieces that I've stitched and they are all with gold thread. I used to use exclusively the Coats and Clark thread. I get it on Amazon, but actually Lidl had one that's been really great. And where's the other one from? I think it's just like a generic brand I found on Amazon, and that's been really great. So there are lots of cost-effective options out there. I didn't like that the double-sided tape wasn't holding the tulle quite as strongly as I would like, and obviously it felt sticky through the tulle. So I've just added some hot glue and some little strips of card to cover that up. Added on that Merry and Bright piece. And then I'm just working on some kind of cluster down here. I've got this banner piece from the ephemera. Then we go ahead and add, I think we add to a different one, yep. So I don't tend to work on one at a time. I sort of do a few layers on each and then jump from embellishment to embellishment. So I'm adding this little stitched tag. I want it to be longer than it is, so we're going to do that crafted trick, cut it in half and have it peek out of both sides, and nobody will know any different. However, I did mess up with the little blue one. I did the same sort of cut and put it each side, but then I realised you could see through the hole in the ticket and you could see red instead of blue. So I think that gives it away a little bit. But I decide to just pop it on there as best I can, and I'll cover it up later with some other kind of embellishment. Yep, that's me working that out. I did consider moving it so that it was over the blue bit, but it didn't look good, so we'll cover it up later. This piece on earth piece, I like that it matches the blue of the tag. This Merry and Bright just fits so perfectly in that little circle, I wanted to use it again. But I think maybe we do go for something different. Pulled some buttons out that were on my desk. They were on my desk looking at me, and rather than put them away, I thought I'm going to make them work on here. I don't know if anyone else does that. I'll make something, leave some bits out, and my next project, they're going on there whether they like it or not. I'm going to make them work because I just don't want to put them away. This little December piece, that say December? I think so. I'm watching it back to voiceover and yeah, it does say December. So that December piece with the little banner flag out the bottom, I've added some Christmas lights to that, which I really love. Little swoopy Christmas lights. Trying to find something else to go on that Merry and Bright. I find this Santa, which works perfect on the December piece. Open up more ephemera from Oh Joyful Day. So there are 2 ephemera packs. One, I think, is like sentiments and things. So that's what I opened first, and then the other one is more icons. So I definitely recommend getting both of those. In fact, I'd really recommend the collection pack. I have actually bought 2 of the collection pack for Christmas this year. I'm very tempted to use it for December Daily. Do let me know what collection you're using for December Daily this year. I always try and decide on a collection and then I use a mix of them in the end. I've never managed to choose one and just stick to it. So I was just adding some powder on the back of one of my pieces there. The double-sided tape was poking out and it was sticky and it was bothering me. So I've got one of those little, is it by EK Tools? Little powder tools that takes the sticky away. They're actually really good. They are meant for embossing. So you sort of like wipe the paper with them before you do the embossing and it makes the powder only stick to the embossing ink. That's what I bought it for, but I tend to use it mostly for getting rid of sticky off of the back of things. Adding that Santa onto our December piece. I really love that peachy colour. When I first saw it in the kit, I was like, I'm not sure it's very Christmassy, but it really works so well with all of the other colours in this kit. These little mittens are so perfect for that Merry and Bright. They fit perfectly in the spot that I want something. So I know it needed something and they just fit so perfectly there. More little Christmas lights, adding them onto this blue one this time. I want them to poke out both sides of the tree, so I've just snipped that and moved it over. And then I'll pop the tree over the gap so you won't notice. These little foam tabs are from Temu. I actually really like them. I use them all of the time now. Trying out more buttons, different sentiments. I had this Santa on a bunch of foam tape because it was sort of different heights, and then I worked out that if I just put the December piece up a bit more, I didn't need all of the extra foam tape to sort of make things level. So I put the December piece up on a piece of foam tape, sorry. Then I can have the lights, flat, and Santa on just 2 pieces, and I get rid of all the extra bits that I added. I cut that fir tree, I think it was like a wreath, in half, so I can use it as little sprigs poking out of the back. Use these foliage pieces, which are from, are they from 𝓷𝓸𝓬𝓲, I think? So I got a bunch of her Christmas dies last year. I was very lucky, and she sent me a bunch of them, and this was one of them. I'll have to find the name for you. And then I've just got a bunch of them already cut out in my Christmas stash, and I'm adding them on the back of this, adding hot glue and then popping some scrap paper over the top, just so that the hot glue doesn't burn me and it doesn't stick to my mat. We have skipped forward slightly. I've added a few bits. It was taking such a long time, I didn't want to bore you with watching every single one of them, so you can see where we are on each of these. Top left, we've got the Santa with the December piece. I've added those little foliage sprigs. The one below that, I added those mittens, like I showed you earlier. I added a little peach piece to the right of that little circle. I can't see what that says at this moment in time. And then I added one of the little sprigs on the left of that. You can see the one I'm working on now, I actually added one of those scalloped circles at the back instead of on the front of this one. And then I've added a little circle piece on the front, a little red one. And I added stitching, like underlining the word Christmas, rather than round the whole circle. And I thought it needed something a little bit extra. So I popped that onto some white card. So I circle punched it. I thought it was a bit too thick, the border. So I've just trimmed around that. You saw me do that. And now I'm cutting out some little gold stars. This is a Hobbycraft punch and the DRK Craft glitter paper that we used in the background. I'm just using that for a bunch of little stars. And then the final one that I didn't talk about, the Christmas tree, is exactly the same as when I left you last. Just the tree and the Christmas lights on that one for now. I'm using the stars in place of like enamel dots or gems. So just as like a little finishing sparkly touch, adding them onto all of them. Having a look through the stickers that come in the collection kit. So these are the word strips. And what one do we choose? We choose the red one that says Merry Christmas to pop straight on there, and then another little star. I do mess around moving this a bit. I'm using my backup tweezers. You can see I'm using little silver ones. I have my pink pair, which are my absolute favourite, and I will always choose them. The lovely Anna actually sent me those in a happy mail, and they are permanently on my desk. And I took them to a friend's to craft, and I've left them in my craft bag. So on this day I was using my backup silver ones, and they're not my favourite. They don't grip as well. I feel like they don't hold on to things quite how I like that the pink ones do. So you'll see me here sort of using those and placing things a few times. Just in case you're wondering where my pink, my usual pink tweezers are. Although these ones are handy to use the end to like push into the hot glue. Because I'm not as picky about how I use them because they're not my favourite pair, I think I don't mind putting them in the hot glue. I'd never do that with the pink ones. Does anyone have favourite scissors they'll like refuse to cut foam tape with because it ruins them? Or is that just a me thing? I did one of the transparent word stickers onto there. Sorry, tripping over the word stickers. That one says wishing you a happy holiday, I believe. And I thought that the gold stood out quite nicely against the dark background. I'm not usually a fan of clear stickers. I will often back them on white card. But I thought, as a one-off, that looked quite cute. Maybe that is the key, using them on darker backgrounds. Punching some more stars for this little tree one. Looking for something to go behind or in front, or just something, a little bit of something extra. Decided to cut out one of these scalloped circles in red. I already punched that glitter circle, I think it's a 2-inch circle punch, again from Hobbycraft. And it does fit in that little scallop circle absolutely perfectly. So I decided to cut the bigger one in red and then put the little glitter circle inside and then use that behind the tree. And I think that looks really sparkly and sweet. I really did enjoy my first little Christmas craft of the season. You'll have to let me know what your first Christmas craft was this year. What did you make when you first busted out the Christmas craft stash? I am trying to use embossing more. So I have got all of these pretty embossing powders and I very, very rarely use them, and I have gorgeous stamps. So I decided to pull some out and see if we could add some embossing onto these tickets. I do use the Sizzix, the pink one. I'm not 100% sure of the name of that one, but I got it from the works. I actually recently bought some white ones from Chloe's Creative Cards that I really love. So I've definitely been using those more. I've been using embossing more really now that I've got those. So popping that pink on there. And this one's just got a couple of little stars. I thought they would complement that gold glittery star nicely. And I really do love watching it back, watching the powder change. I think you can see it on camera so much better than you can see it in person. Which makes no sense to me because you'd think it would be the other way around. Using that little powder tool, then stamping with, I believe it's Versamark ink that I use for embossing. I've literally just bought a refill for the stamp pad, like the little bottles of ink, because I think it's getting a bit dry. The powder wasn't sticking as well as I wanted, and I think that might be the dry ink pad. Using this little PS I Love You, which is a Rosie Studio one. I missed a bit there, so I re-stamped it, and then I just put some more powder over the top. Yep, so that one says PS I Love You. That is from a Rosie Studio stamp, but it's not the Christmas one. It's a different collection. What do we add onto here? This one says special delivery, I believe. I definitely think the pink looks nice on the darker background. There we go. Watch that change. And then I wanted to add a little dangle charm to a couple of them. So I punch a hole, the smaller hole from the crocodile, into these two, the one with the tree, and this one up here with the little tags and the cupcake. Add a little teeny tiny gold eyelet into there. These big jump rings, which are really easy to open and close with your fingers, which I appreciate. And then I add a tassel onto each one. I'm not sure if I add charms or beads. I think maybe I just add a tassel to these. These tassels are so hard to get onto the jump rings. I think they were ones that came on paper clips and I took them off. And now they're sort of not, they're not very easy to thread things through. There we go, adding that onto my embellishment. And I think we might be nearly done. Yep, fluff that little tassel up. Yes, we are finished. So this is our first one with the little Santa and the December. Then the second one, Christmas tree with some lights. We have number 3, which is merry and bright with the little mittens. You'll have to let me know which is your favourite of the 4. And then the 4th one, which has the cupcake and the little simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Thanks so much for hanging out and crafting with me, and I'll be back soon. Bye!